Hopefully with the Steelers playbook, they're going to get a lot more involved. Though Achane breaks to the outside, we've got no one left as Newsome arrives a little bit late. Though we will keep it with Hubbard. Good spin move, ball pops out. Come on now, Hubbard. Barry checks in as we get some good blocking and we'll push in. 2nd and 6. They go to a little bit of some play action and a sack comes in on the blitz. And we got Chuba. He's wide open to the outside. Put on him. That's a touchdown to take the lead. Any real sacks this year. Need him to get the tackles for a loss. As we say it, he finally gets it. We need it as we have our tight end beautifully thrown by Young. No, not really, but we do have a window for Mingo, but he forgot to catch it. For him down at the 5, and it's open for Tyreek, and he holds on to that one. 2. We send the blitz. Newsome gets the pick. Break the losing streak to do it as we find Chuba Hubbard. And he will get that opportunity right down the middle, all around. Great way to finish the season and finally end that losing streak. After 4 games, we get the big win. And when we needed the team the most, they finally did it. Broke the drought with a pretty dominant win, 35-19 over the Miami Dolphins. Clinched our division, as well as gave us an opportunity at least to try to rival the Cowboys for that 1 seed. Unfortunately, the Cowboys also won. But we are in, we're feeling better as the playoffs begin. And it's not just the morale that is feeling better, but we did see a lot of injuries go well for us. We got a lot of players back, though unfortunately, we had probably one of the worst sets of injuries you could have for, I would even say for just in general for the offense. Our 2 tackles, starting tackles, are out this game. Ekwonu and Wills Jr., they did so much better last week switching spots. Unfortunately, they are both out with practice injuries, a high ankle sprain for Ekwonu and a PCL sprain for Jedrick Wills. So that is going to massively shake up our offensive line. We're probably going to have to move our guards out to tackle and then bring in the backup interior lineman in Max Mitchell as well as Bozeman. And hopefully that will do enough to give us some time to move the ball. But it's going to be against the Minnesota Vikings, and they have a really good defense this year. Points per game, nothing big for them. They average 22, which honestly isn't that much, but they are the number 1 passing defense in terms of yards, as well as 8th for rushing. So the fact that we're missing both of our tackles, not great. If we look at their individual defensive ratings here, they've only collected 30 sacks throughout the season, so they shouldn't be that dominant off the edge, even with Danielle Hunter, so hopefully that pans out pretty well for us, though we haven't been great at getting sacks either. Well, this is the first time we have made it to the playoffs this series. We were close a couple times, so we're going to play it cool because it's our first time, at least with Steve Smith Sr. being a coach, not a player. And we're going to need the team to come through, beat the Vikings, and we'll get some rewards for it. And on top of it, as expected, it is going to be Cameron Jordan's last season. So he's trying to get the boys psyched up here. He wants to go out on top. He's got the locker room feeling good, so hopefully we'll see that help us when we hit the field. But our opponents, they're no slouch. Despite their losing record, though still in the playoffs, they won the North going 8-9. Their quarterback is Keith Nichols, a second-year guy out of Missouri, and he has some pretty decent accuracies, mostly short and medium, so we got to take away the quick throws today. At running back, they have A.J. Dillon, a power back, as well as another power back, second-year guy, Raheem Vernon, out of Washington State. Getting to their receivers, they no longer have JJ. Instead, they have KJ as their number 1, then Jeremiah Poole, and they actually seem to be missing a good amount of players. And it's only 2, but it's 2 pretty impactful ones in Jordan Addison, who was their number 1 receiver, so that's going to be good for our defense. They are also missing their second receiver in Curtis Samuel, so honestly, very similar to what we had to deal with in the Alabama State-only challenge. The Vikings looking very similar. So with their top 2 targets missing, at least at receiver, they're going to have to rely on the vet now of Osborne, as well as again, another second-year player, a lot of young second-year guys here for the Vikings in Jeremiah Poole. And then Naylor finally getting an opportunity. We'll see what he could do with it, but they're probably going to have to go TJ Hawkinson's way a good bit if they do decide to throw. They also have Carl Stanton, a rookie, who very well could be a future starter for them. Though where they're going to have their best set for their offense, at least, it is the offensive line, which is weird to say as a Vikings fan. Christian Darrisaw, a 92. They also have depth here. Reisner still with the squad, a 77, though seeing a little bit of some morale taking that down. Garrett Bradbury, a 79. Then you get over to right guard. You got Cesar Ruiz, an 80. Then Brian O'Neill, an 87. Again, the depth is all there. A rookie Ware, 74. They still have Ed Ingram, so if they take some injuries, it's really not going to hurt them much. Meanwhile, ourselves, we're pretty much out of depth there. Getting to the defensive side, they do have Leonard Williams, who's going to be down the middle in 81. They also have Glenn Miner. We'll see how they end up rotating this group, but I do expect some rotation. Getting to the right side, Dorrance Armstrong, a 78, and then down the middle, Harrison Phillips still with the squad at an 82, but they could probably use Williams down the middle, at least in some rotation as well. Edge guys, Danielle Hunter, expect nothing less than him. And then on the other side, they're rocking with the rookie in Amos. Down the middle, they do have Ivan Pace Jr., not Asamoah in this top 2. He is a trade target young, so they're going to go with CJ Mosley, who is that mentor bridge for Ivan Pace Jr. Getting to their corners, nothing's too flashy here, but a solid group. Byron Murphy Jr. an 83. You got Isaiah Rogers Sr., a new addition for them, a 79. Then Blackman, a 77. Evans, a 75, as well as Andrew Booth Jr. Free safety, Cameron Bynum, a 79. And then strong, they still have Harrison Smith, though he's starting to slow down a little bit. Speed is an 85. So if we can get deep down the field with that new receiver we added last episode, we might have a couple chunk balls to throw up. But really, what we saw last episode is that Chuba Hubbard is the leader of our offense and the linebackers are the leader of our defense. So let's hope that both sides come ready to play and get us to the divisional. Get this one underway as the playoffs begin. Murray set to return that new addition with a bunch of speed as he tries to break to the outside. He made that return back to the 25 look really good. But the offense will head out behind a patchwork offensive line. There is pretty much only one offensive lineman playing his original spot, and that is the rookie left guard in Clifton. Everyone else has been moved around as we start with Chuba Hubbard and expect to go his way often. Though, of course, we'll also try to make sure we give him some steady breaks to not get too banged up. Though we do go back to him here, get some blocks downfield. Chuba Hubbard will pick up the first close to the 40 before getting dragged down by Spillane. But as for the offensive line, we got Max Mitchell, left tackle, Clifton, left guard. Bozeman comes in at center as we move over David Andrews to right guard. And then at the other tackle spot, we had to move Walker Little over there. He played a little bit of that in college, so he's used to it. Everyone else, they're kind of just having to step up and fill needs today. So much appreciation for the offensive line as we hand it off. Barry will pick up the first, but then he picks up an injury as Harrison Phillips put all the weight down on him. He's going to head off the field, get something checked out. I honestly couldn't quite tell if he was holding his wrist or maybe it was a rib issue. Either way, we hopefully will get an update shortly. Chuba Hubbard, he checks back in. They send a blitz, but we got Hubbard to the outside at the 10-5. Pushed into the end zone. He kicks the pylon on his way to take the lead. In the playoffs, we score first. But of course, with everything good, there has to be a little bit of some bad to balance it out, as we do hear that Barry's day is done with a chest problem, as we got double pass rush there, but still they find 9 yards to KJ. Nichols with an impressive adjustment there to the rush that we sent on play one. Want to make sure we get in the young guy's face. As they hand it off down the middle, Dylan will pick up the first, a gain of 2. Now last week we did mostly well against Achan, gave up a couple big plays, but for majority of it, we did pretty well against the run. Need to make sure we continue to see that today as Naylor. Use your hands, not your face mask. Though that's probably just a little bit of my Vikings coming out. Keep using your face mask. It helps me out here. Bunch to the right-hand side, one over to the left. Will be cut underneath, intended for Hawkinson, but the throw is off the mark. Honestly, Nichols has to feel a little bit lucky there that he didn't throw a pick. 3rd and 10. They spread out the look, 2 to the right-hand side, and they go back to Hawkinson, and just not good enough coverage there from Hodgins. Just a simple stop route, but gave him too much space. 1st and 10 in plus territory at the 42, and some movement comes from that left-hand side. Will end up backing him up. And it is Hawkinson. So going back to what I just said earlier, every time there's some good, just have to have a little bit of some bad. Balance it up as they go back to Hawkinson. Some more laundry on the field. And now they're going to get the Vikings for holding. So back them up yet again. 1st and 25. They spread empty. Bunch to the left-hand side, 2 to the right, as they will go down the field for Naylor, and he nailed that throw. Not the first down, though. 2nd and 1. Though you can't blame that on Naylor. Need the ball maybe a little bit further downfield there from Nichols, and it's a 1st down. As they go with some play action, Owe overran it as he's back from injury. You can tell just needs to get used to the flow of the game again. They're down to the 8 as they find Poole. We have a couple different guys coming back from injury in this one, as well as some out. Just regularly having to deal with that, but so are the Vikings out there. 2 top receivers as they go KJ, and once again we miss the tackle from Owe. And the Vikings will level it up after their first drive here. So some things to clean up and some things to keep doing. Through this first quarter here, we got it 7-7 as we're back out here on offense, not getting the cutback. A late flag comes in as well. There's already a TFL, and we're going to back up either way. That holding call ends up being on Clifton. We'll make it 1st and 20 as they do accept. As we go to the halfback screen, Redwell, though, bad tackling. Chuba Hubbard still running. He's not going to get the edge by Bynum, but it's a 1st down, gain of around, 25 or so. But again, as we saw last game and as we saw early on this season, Chuba Hubbard, he is reliable, and we need to go his way early and often. As we find a little bit of a gap, it is the UDFA, no, not UDFA, check that, it's the veteran in Odell Beckham Jr. I mistook him for Murray, who is the speedster, who will rotate in the slot with him, and we'll probably see a good bit of both of them today. As likely one-on-one, though that ball too far out the back. Though it did look like likely, almost got the step there on Byron Murphy. But either way, goes out the back. We're back out here, handing it off to Chuba. Gets the blocks downfield from the receivers, though. Lewis Seen gets the tackle, 3rd and inches. And for the first time in quite a while, Barlow heads out. He's pretty much a balanced style running back as we open up some lanes for him. Down inside the 10, finally down at the 9. Good run, good blocking. But this is really the reason why you keep good depth for your offensive line, because we're having to use most of it here today. Hopefully we don't use all of it. As we check it down, Callaway breaks 1, but maybe gains a yard at that. So we'll change it up. Went with a heavy set. Now we spread empty. 2nd and goal as we're coming close to the end of the first quarter here. And Harrison Phillips, he read the screen. We break the tackle and again only pick up 1. So the Vikings definitely making us work for it here inside the 10. Come out with a tight look. Got a couple quick stops underneath. Guys going to the outside. Who's going to find the space? Everyone really covered. Young looking to scramble. And he drops the ball at the 1. Recovered by Williams with 3 seconds left in the quarter. We might have a chance at least for a safety. Now that's just a play that Young cannot allow, cannot be costing ourselves points as they do go with the fullback dive. A push there at the end from Winslow gets them back to the one as we end one. Send us into the second quarter 7-7 with us having a chance at possibly getting a safety. Though that comes at a cost of us not getting a touchdown. 2nd and 9, they have a goal line set dialed up. We send some blitzes, picked up well. Stockton gets the tackle. It is 3rd and 3. But that little bit of space will give them the confidence to spread it out. Got a bunch to the left-hand side. Quick blitz down the middle. Forces a holding call for sure, but it's underthrown. Gardner Johnson gets the pick, and we take back over plus territory. Trying to stretch it to the outside. No more room. As Nichols gets the stop at the 27. A pair of turnovers in the last 2 drives. So let's try to make sure we don't make that 3rd in a row as we got an RPO dialed up here, and we will stick with a handoff. Hubbard down the middle. We'll get close to, but they do not give us the first down. 2nd and inches. But I'll take a 2nd and inches as our first play. Pretty much every play. As they're going to roll out Hubbard here on the wheel. Opens up 4, but then the safety ends up sitting, and he knocks it away. Not the safety, actually corner in Rogers Sr. Looked like he was going to flow with Chenault, but no, he did not. Leaving us with 3rd and inches, though. It's more like 3rd and a centimeter. As we will hand it off, Hubbard will get it done. First down at the 14. Now we just need to make sure we get this drive done as we change up the look here. Got 2 to the left, Mingo lone to the right, as we're going to pretty much flood the right side of the field. See if we could get anyone coming across as we had an option. Not enough time to throw. Maybe could have tried to get a high pass into Isaiah Likely a little bit earlier, but we went with the safer option. As we will swing this out, see if we could get some blocks. No, good tackle, Lewisine. We'll say the Vikings doing a very good job of bowing up when we get down into scoring range. As we have OBJ alone in the back, a beautiful dot to that back pylon from Young. High enough, but not too high for OBJ. And if I'm not mistaken, that's his first touchdown since we signed him. It's been a couple weeks, and he's done a good job of filling in an injured group. As the Minnesota Vikings head out now, down a touchdown. They start with a run and will pick up 7 with A.J. Dillon. I always find it funny whenever a team signs a player from their rival and how that player feels making that switch, as Poole does not hold on to that one. Ends up just slipping through the breadbasket, leaves him with 3rd and short. We are sending a double A gap blitz right down the middle. Stockton forces the roll out and just off the marker, just not having that timing with Naylor. It's been helping us out for the most part today. And following a nice return on the punt from that young speedster we signed just a couple games ago, we start up at the 41 with a chance to widen our lead as Hubbard tried to just slide in between that narrow gap. He doesn't, but he picks up 3. As well as a little bit of some trash talk there with Williams. 2nd and 7. We keep it the same look. Look for a little bit of some play action. We got some guys coming across, which we do, and it's up for OBJ. Good adjustment on that throw. We're in plus territory down to the 36. You know, he may not have the same ratings he used to, but he's still made some pretty good plays with us, and we may be going his way again, though with the 2 high safeties. We'll see how they end up shading, and they actually covered pretty much everything to the side we were on, though I think X opened across the way. But that is quite a lot of passing back to back, so we're going to go with a run here, 2nd and 10, try to get some yardage as we look to bounce this one to the outside. Good blocking from Mingo as we will pick up the first down to the 24. Will be Hubbard's 6 carry, 42 total yards on the day, and we'll head him to the sideline. Bring out Ty Barlow. Callaway motions over. Try to get this to the outside, though. Not a great seal, but we break a tackle, bounce off another, and pick up just that 10 yards. And I'd say it's been a pretty strong welcome back for Barlow, who hadn't seen much playing time this season with the addition of Barry and the success of Barry. Though no one really open here unless Likely continues his route, which he did not. It luckily hits the turf. But that is a great example of why we were erring more on the side of Chuba Hubbard. He typically doesn't put us in that bad of spots, as it's a quick blitz. We throw it away just in time. Spillane almost got back there. This line just has to do better at recognizing that. As we flip the formation here, OBJ to the outside does look nice. We'll send Mingo on a slant to help try to pull in the outside corner. See how well that works for us, as it's going to be one-on-one. Ball comes in late. Needed to drive that rather than loft it. We'll send out Cole Ford and the kicking unit. So while it's not exactly what we were looking for, we will still widen our lead with a field goal here, make it 10-point lead. Make it 17-7, as the Vikings will have just over 2 minutes left in this quarter to try to find some amount of points. A really strong hit there on Hodgins sent him tumbling, but he's got some teammates there to help get the stop. Gain of 4, and we will send it to the 2-minute warning from there. They could have snapped the ball, had one more play, but they decide to sit, come up with a better game plan for this 2-minute drive. As they're back at the 29, they are down 10. They get a nice release to the outside, but too far thrown outside, leaves them with 3rd and 6. It does seem like we have Nichols rattled in this one. He apparently is just not used to getting blitzed as much, as the wheel works to perfection. Osborne running, and by Gardner Johnson. He has struggled down the field this year. If we continue with him next year, he probably needs to switch to strong. But that is not to take away from Osborne, or a pretty good throw there from Nichols, as they do find some points, and now we ourselves have a 2-minute drive, or a little bit less, 1:45. We have all of our timeouts. Drive this one in. We have Chenault, his first catch since coming back. Now let's get back to the line quickly here. They keep their safeties back, so we'll rock with the halfback screen. It's worked out most of the time for us. They don't read it too well that time, though. Daniil, he had some speed there, bumps us out, gain of 6. But it does do well to also stop the clock here for us. Still with all those timeouts, we're in plus territory. Got trips to the left, likely loan to the right-hand side. A little bit of some play action, step up in the pocket, get it out for Mingo, lofted over the top, but he couldn't stay in bounds. Come on, Mingo, that's gotta be 6. Especially considering how much we've struggled when getting down here inside the 10. Got a little bit of some read option dialed up, and Young keeps it. Pretty sure he should have handed that one off. I just guess he wanted to take on Daniil Hunter. Probably not going to win that one too often, as we have a couple different options here, as we will throw it outside, and it's not picked. We had this problem a couple games ago. Once again, I will ask Madden to want to here break the fourth wall, but please on RPOs take A as a receiver option away, because that's what you're supposed to use to hand it off to the running back, as we tried there. They stood us up. Now we're up a field goal. We could take on a field goal here or still try to find a touchdown. And I don't know about you, but I'm feeling the touchdown option. So let's go for it here. Got one receiver on either side, 2 tight ends, and Hubbard wheeling out. See if we can find ourselves some points here before the end of the quarter. Mingo! That is 2 touchdowns this drive you should have had. And what might be even worse is that probably gives a little bit of some momentum to the Vikings, though they start backed up way deep. Got a bunch to the right-hand side. Look to air it out as it's Cash who drops the pick. Outside of a couple plays, though, we've done very well against Nichols. He's 5 of 12. Already have gotten 1 pick off of him. Hopefully we get more throughout the remainder of this game, as we don't knock that one out. Good tackle comes in from St. Juice. 3rd and 1. We call a timeout. We know we got a kicker with a strong leg. If we could get a quick stop here with some timeouts in our pocket, who knows, as we do not get the stop. Instead, a first down, hopefully which does not come back to bite us. And as we did going for that touchdown instead of the field goal, sometimes you gamble, it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. As they go with a run here, good stop there from Hodgins. That will send us into halftime. So a whole lot of action to not produce a whole lot for us. late on there in that half. We are up 17-14. We left some points on the field, but for the most part, pretty happy with what we've seen from this squad, fighting through some injuries as well. No updates for at least our side, at least showing here, though I know the Falcons, they won that game against the Cardinals, so for at least them, I know they're moving on. And as we get our second half underway, I know we're looking to join them in that divisional round, whether we play against them or the Cowboys, who won the first round bye from us. Good stop there from Owe. We have not gone back to where Owe used to play, which was over on the right-hand side of this defense. We're keeping our young guy there as Castaneda. Speaking of a young guy, the rookie DT gets the stop. TFL loss of 3. But we were keeping the other young guy in McCullough as the outside guy to that side just for better matchups, though. He hasn't gotten by O'Neal today as we had the free rusher. Instead, it's a free first down for Poole. So it ended up being both sides who just left a guy sitting there. Vikings do better with it. 1st and 10 up at the 38. They go down the middle. It's the second-year running back with space, though not going to speed away from Stockton. First down in plus territory, however. And we got to get this thing reeled back in here on defense, giving up a couple big plays already this drive as they're getting close. Actually, no, past midfield. Rolling to the outside, Stockton. Why can we not cover these outside routes and get tackles downfield? Vikings take the lead. 2 deep touchdowns for KJ Osborne. And for anyone saying that's why you take the field goal, we would still be losing by 1. So that is why we went for the touchdown. 21-17. Offense heads back out, and we need to regain control of this one. We start with 4, Chuba Hubbard. But it's not like this offense has struggled to get down into scoring range whatsoever. It's just actually getting the ball in the end zone where we have had trouble. As we dump this one off, likely we'll pick up the first and get out of bounds. Now, we haven't seen a whole lot from our outside receivers today in Chenault and Mingo. Mingo definitely has given up more plays than he's really made for us, as we find Likely again. Barely getting that one in there before Spillane showed up. Also, one thing I've noticed is that we have not seen Ivan Pace Jr. in this game, even though they said he was supposed to be starting. Because we have 2 lead blockers there. Works out pretty well for us. We gained 9. In fact, we've actually seen more of Mosley and Spillane than either Asamoah or Ivan Pace. Hopefully we see that continue as we get Chuba Hubbard out in some space, who will pick up the first. A little stiff arm and out of bounds, though you could definitely ask for an extra 15 at the end. And outside of some holding calls, the refs have been letting the teams play today. 1st and 10, down to the 38. Ty Barlow checks in as he finds some space to the outside. Looks for a juke that he gets. Not gonna speed away from Rodgers. He drags us down from behind at the 10. So once again, we find ourselves down here, but can we actually get the ball in the end zone? As we make a check here, we were gonna go with the screen, but they got man up everywhere. And a quick sack. Don't know what happened up front, but they obviously don't know what happened either. What I can tell you is Harrison Phillips moved faster than I think he ever has there. Once again, we're going to have Mingo change his route. We're going to send him on the drag, see if we could get OBJ to that back corner. Though safety help moves over the top, and we find Mingo. He holds on to that one, though he takes a big hit from it. Cannot say Young protected his guy there. 3rd and goal now. Look for Likely to that back corner. It's going to be the primary read, though the safety switch. We got our guy coming across. We had OBJ with space. Not enough time to throw. We're down 4. You could take the field goal again, or you could go for it. But this time, we will take the points. We'll send out Ford. We've got to turn these drives into touchdowns. We should have had at least 4 touchdowns today. Instead, we have field goals. But we still have a full quarter to play, as well as an additional minute and 53 seconds. Just need to slow down KJ Osborne, and we should be doing all right. As the first play, they go right back to Osborne as he slips the first tackler, picking up the first. The Vikings really needed KJ to step up today, and he's done everything he could for this team, and we'll see how it ends up working out for him. As they go downfield over the top of Newsome, it's Poole headed to the end zone to retake not really retake, but to widen their lead now to 8. The Vikings offense started off pretty slow today, but now they've gained a whole lot of momentum, having us chase here as the halfback screen blown up by Phillips. He might just be having one of his best career games, leaving us with a lot of yardage needed here. As we got Chenault, the ball comes up well short and behind. It's a pick from Young, and the Vikings take over at the 33. Now, what's even more annoying is the fact that that should have been a first down to Chenault, but the ball was not far enough, was behind. Just everything pretty much was wrong with that throw. As they try to get Dillon to the outside, secure tackle from Stockton, gain of 3. But as they're already up 8 points here, we could really use with a turnover. As they're letting this one roll, and they will get one more play before we head to the 4th. And it'll be a 3rd and 5 and a stop we can really use. As they will head out with a tight single back set. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. KJ in motion, fake the jet sweep. It's Dillon down the middle, and a big stop we get from Sidney Brown. We'll bring up a 4th and 6 and a field goal from Santos. Kicking this one from the 36, it is up. And it is down the middle. That'll make it a 2-score game. 11 points, and we got about 7.5 minutes left. We need this offense to finally come alive. We need some big plays downfield, which we're not going to get here. Pass rush shows up. Young's got to get rid of it. That's kind of been the problem today. Passing game has not quite been there. They've started to lock down on Hubbard as well. So who's going to make the big plays that this team desperately needs? Well, that one is essentially a throwaway. That'll leave us already here with a 3rd and 10, still back at the 25. Hard count, no one jumps. Got to find something for the first down. It's out for Thomas, though it is not a first down. Quick tackle leaves 4th and 2. Now, this is a spot you just have to go for it here in the playoffs. Need just 2. Offensive line clears open the middle. It'll be a lot more than 2 for Hubbard, as let's try to build off of that, get right back to it. Single high safety is Bynum. See if we could cross face, maybe get Likely with a little bit of some speed downfield. It was opening. Not enough time to throw it. So let's try to see if we could change things up a little bit, get some speed out there. We bring out Murray. He's the 98 speed guy. See if he could find some space to the outside, coming up a little short. If that was about a yard, maybe 2 further downfield, we might have had it. But either way, we had to try to get it there, leaving us with another 3rd and 10. Same look, they'll flip it. See if we can find a little bit of some space as they bring some guys off the edge. Young steps up, but the interior of this line is flowing beautifully. Haven't seen big boys move this quickly since they opened up a buffet. 4th and 8. Can we find our guy? It's Likely, and it's through his hands. Had Mingo underneath. Neither was a clean option. Vikings pick up a key stop. So now a lot of pressure here, building on the defense to make some plays. Vikings start out with 2 to the right, 1 to the left. It's how they ended their previous drive, as that was nearly into the hands of Newsome, knocked away by Naylor. But we have not been getting very much pass rush of late, so let's move away from the blitzes a little bit. Try to, I don't know, pop up underneath some of these throws, make a play, as that looked like it was thrown off of Castaneda's face. And this is where we've just got to make that final play. Not field goal range. They got 4 receivers to the left, Hawkinson lone to the right. See if we can find a play, but no! The Vikings get there just in time. It is that 2nd-year receiver in Poole. Has them down to the 18. We just have not been able to make the plays this second half. We've left a lot of points out there, obviously, getting down into scoring range and then just not scoring. Get a play there at least, thrown away by Nichols. Trying to change up our defensive calls as well. See if maybe the zone can force a turnover here. Or help us just get some stops on some running plays. As they do go, Vernon, who slips the tackle. Make it a 3-score game. Well, we've got to see near perfection from here on out. Just over 5 minutes left. We are now down by 18 points. Start with a spread look. They got some press on us. See if we could get Murray to that sideline. And he does get the catch. It just dropped in between the coverages. What a play. Great catch there from the UDFA. We're right back out here. Chunk play gets us down to the 32, but we need to get in the end zone, and honestly, picking up 32 points would be great as well. We got to throw it away. Just need our guys to make some plays. This receiving core is probably going to see a pretty big shakeup after this season. This is their time to make some plays as it's Mingo holds on to it. Down to the 8. Let's get back to it quickly. I'll have a couple different options, most of them some short, quick stop routes, as it's a throwaway before the sack, but it's still a big hit. We definitely have not given Young clean throwing windows most of this second half. It really has been a game of halves here for us, as it's out for Chenault. The ball is just awful there from Young. He's feeling the pressure, and when that happens, he crumbles. So unless our defense here can start making some big plays, turnovers, scooping scores, pick sixes, whatever it be, good stop there from Sweat. And unless we make those plays, it'll look like the 8-9 Vikings will be moving on, losing to a losing team. As they go out, can we secure some tackles today? First down and a bit more, as we just keep slipping. Right now, as soon as this offseason hits, whenever that may be, you never know, 3 minutes left here, we will be hiring a new tackling coordinator. That's for sure. Good stop there, Castaneda. Looks like he maybe grabbed the face mask, but hey, no flag. We could definitely use with just some toughness added to this defense for sure. A little bit more consistent edge rushing would also help. 2nd and 9, they hand it off Dylan. He'll get a couple, but not much, but it's honestly what they're looking for. And with 2 minutes left, we are running out of opportunity. This was one that I can't say the Vikings did anything crazy. They just turned things on when they needed to turn them on. Meanwhile, our offense, we definitely were not. We'll call a timeout there. We'll get the ball back, and we'll see what happens. Well, this offense right now definitely feels hungry for some playmakers. We went Chuba Hubbard earlier, and then they started to take him away. So we've just had to settle with what they've given us, and Vikings defense has not given us much. Really goes to show why they were the number 3 ranked defense this year. They just make plays. As we switch up the formation here, OBJ goes to the left. Need to find something as that one gets lofted due to the hit. A lot of hits go in on OBJ, and the ball hits the turf. But you just expect one of these plays bound to pop off. 3rd and 6, we got a lot of different options we could go with. As we got Daniil on OBJ, and he has perfect coverage. The defensive lineman deep downfield. That really is a perfect summary of how this second half went for us. Vikings defense just phenomenal. As we need to find a first down here. Young on the move, gets it to Mingo. Great adjustment from the two of them. Now let's get back to the line here. Whether it's a consolation goal or consolation goal. What is this, soccer? Consolation touchdown. We need something here as we chuck it up for Mingo. One-on-one, and I think he dropped it. I don't think the corner swatted it at all. But honestly, what difference do we expect from Mingo? He really has not lived up to the potential that we expected he could bring. But we've got to find someone to make some plays or just consistently miss throws, as now Bryce Young is down on the field. He has given up. So with 40 seconds left, Dugan heads out. What can he do? He saw some pretty good play early on in his time having to fill in, but that time he just got to throw it away. No one is getting open for our quarterbacks. And with 4th and 10, this could be the final play of our season. Got 3 to the right, 2 to the left. unless someone can make a play here, which we have likely, and he just forgot to catch it, but that will do it. And just massive credit to the Vikings. They showed up big in that second half. Meanwhile, either our offense or defense, they didn't show up much at all. We left a lot of touchdowns out there with missed opportunities in the red zone. Adjustments weren't made. No one was getting open. We couldn't cover anyone downfield. And if you can't do that, you lose. So we go one and done in the playoffs. And unfortunately for Cameron Jordan, that will most likely be a pretty disappointing final game. We're hoping to really help him out, get him on top, but we just didn't come ready to play. But there's a lot of different really good pieces to this team. We've just got to find other guys in some other key spots. And that's exactly what we're going to look to do next episode. So before we leave here, let's wrap up with the stats of the season. We were the #1 offense despite a drought of no offense, and the defense was solidly right in the middle. And I feel like that is pretty good for the defense. That feels about right offensively. First half definitely elevated us as Bryce Young nearly had 5,000 passing yards, 37 touchdowns. But the problem came with these next two stats: interceptions 25 and completion percentage 62. Both of those need to see a lot of improvement. We cannot turn the ball over as much as we did. We could have, I don't say be undefeated, but we could have won even more games than we did this year with less turnovers and just better completions. At times, Young's accuracy just went out the window or went to the defense. As for the rushing game, Chuba Hubbard did not hit the 1K mark. He averaged, though, about 5 yards a carry, had 7 touchdowns. He said he fumbled 3 times. I definitely don't remember 3. I can think maybe 1 or 2. I could definitely remember a good bit of these Bryce Young fumbles, though. He did have 8 more rushing touchdowns, so he at least still is contributing more points than he is turnovers, but still, it's nothing great. We didn't get a great rotation of the backup running backs with Ty Barlow, only 30 carries this year. Barry, he pretty much took all of those opportunities because we didn't want Chuba Hubbard off the field much at all. Receiving, it's still Chuba Hubbard as our lead receiver, and that I think is the biggest problem with this team, because when defenses, as we saw in that second half today, take away Chuba Hubbard, Shenault, Likely, Hurst, Thomas, Bateman, Mingo, all of these guys, they're not doing enough. That being said, I think Shenault Jr. is still a solid second, maybe third receiver. He's a slot guy, and that's where he should be playing. He had 7 touchdowns for us this year, getting close to 800 total yards. Likely, he stepped up. For tight end numbers, they're actually pretty decent on only 49 catches as well. Hayden Hurst, we saw the regression from him throughout the year, and his time here is definitely done. We'll have to make a decision on Likely. Jordan Thomas, he shows flashes, but he's just inconsistent. Bateman, only 22 catches. He had some injuries throughout the year, mostly towards the end with his season-ending injury. But maybe he could be a number 2. I don't know about a number 1. And then Mingo, he had 9 catches this year. And I fully plan on trading Jonathan Mingo next episode. Getting to the offensive line, though, it was a bit of a hit or miss. We didn't give up a lot of sacks. What we did give up was a lot of pass rush, hits on the quarterback, and hurries. But I do want to shout out David Andrews and what could be his final year. No sacks given up, so great on him. Now getting to the defense. This was a group that regularly saw a lot of injuries take place at key positions. The linebackers, they would play 2-3 games and then were out a game to 3 games at points. So there was just a lot of rotation with this squad. They never quite gelled. And the one thing that we really did not get was pass rush. Despite going and spending money on Oweh, he only got 4.5 sacks. Grover Stewart, I would say he was pretty solid for us. Hartwell on blitzes, he should not be our 3rd sack guy because he's not on the field all the time. And McCullough, he only had 1.5 sacks. I really hope his sophomore year is a big jump for him. Something like a Kayvon Thibodeau type of situation. That is what I'm really hoping for. Need Stockton to stay healthy. Hodgins and Hartwell, they're a great rotation for that linebacker spot. We just got to get a lot more consistent, and that includes consistently being out on the field. Interception leader is Newsome. He had 9. So there were games that he disappeared entirely, but there were other games where he was just lights out. It just comes down once again to getting that consistently dialed in. In terms of forced fumbles, Oweh did lead us. He did force 2. We forced 4 throughout the entire year, so nothing great. But we did recover 75% of those, so that's pretty good. And Cole Ford was 100% on the year, including a long of 60. He is our kicker throughout this series for sure. But that would leave it for us here today. We drop out in the wild card. We got a lot of good pieces, but we still need to add some more guys. We are close. We just need the consistency, and we need a couple more key guys to step up at a variety of different spots. Let me know who you think we should target in this next off season. And while you're letting me know, also let me know that you're enjoying by hitting that bell icon on the bottom right or scrolling down and hitting the subscription button. They both do the same thing and subscribing. And you could also tick that bell icon so you do not miss when any of these videos go out. This series every single Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So Monday will be the off season, and then week 1 the next day on Tuesday. So there's not much of a wait in between these seasons. We also have the state-only challenge. Currently, the state of Alabama, as we're moving into, to not spoil Wednesday's episode, we're moving into season 3 after a horribly played wild card that was so bad it was funny. And we saw almost the exact opposite of that today, because we were 8-9, made the playoffs. Today we got beat by the 8-9 team. So Vikings, if we play you next year, we're coming after you. But that will be next year, so we'll see. We're going to add some pieces, make some trades maybe, and we're just going to see what all happens next time in the offseason.